media, remember?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So what's happening? Is he not showing up?
Nope. He's a coward. He's taking the back door.
What would your message be if he were to show up?
He's a pharmaceutical tyrant, prostitute.
Well, you know what? I think that is how a lot of Calgarians feel about him. So how long were they there, and did Trudeau come by? Where exactly was that?
Yeah, so this was at the Fairmont, downtown Calgary, and he did not show up. At least we did not see him. We did check out the building. We went around a few times, and there are so many different access points. He could have used any number of those back doors. And it's not surprising, obviously. It's not just the crowd that was there that deterred him. I really think that he's a coward and that he's just not willing to face the music at this point. The people were there until I think 1 a.m., maybe a little bit longer. There was still a crowd by the time that we were rolling out. Justin Trudeau's security had come and gone, and all the staff that we talked to, all the police officers, just denied that there was literally anything happening at all, which is just steeped in in hypocrisy, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I've stayed at that hotel before and in other hotels where there were protests outside, and I bet that Trudeau could hear those chants from inside. So could everyone else in the hotel, I'm sure. But you know what? It's funny because we haven't had a lot of democratic checks and balances on Trudeau. Normally you have a vigorous opposition. You have a oppositional media. You have courts that hold the government to account. You have a lot of institutions serving to counter the prime minister and give ventilation to the views of the grassroots. But in the last 2 years, until Aaron O'Toole was given the boot, really there was no opposition to Trudeau and the lockdowns by none of the premiers either. The media was 100% on board. All the courts, all the colleges of physicians and surgeons silenced any dissident doctors. So I think part of the anger there, and there was some anger, there's some coarse language, part of it's because for 2 years, there's been no way to speak back to Trudeau, especially when he does tyrannical things like invokes former martial law. So I have a lot of sympathy for those folks. I understand you have one more clip from the protest. Is that right?
We have Rebel News Sydney Fizard here. What's going on?
Well, not much so far. Everybody's waiting for Trudeau. There's some speculation that he's going to use this entrance, that entrance. People don't actually know which way he's going to come from. We are hoping that he's going to be, of course, right front and center. That way, these protesters can voice their concerns, of course. But if he doesn't show his face, well, I think that this goes to show that he is, in fact, a coward.
That was an update from our Sydney Fizard, Rebel News reporter. And we have the police here making sure that the door is open, the access is open, the Secret Service is in the middle, I believe. We have a sign that says, authorities infringing on the Charter of Rights and Freedoms must be jailed.
Yeah, no chance he would go in that front door. I know that building fairly well. There are so many exits and entrances to it. For security reasons, it would be nuts for him to go in. I heard our reporters say, Rebel News. I'm guessing that was because other media are as despised as Trudeau himself. And if we didn't identify ourselves as independent media, if people might have thought that we were government media like the CBC or bailout media, they might have been as hostile to us as they were to Trudeau. That's what I think.
Yeah, there was actually there was one camera stationed a couple blocks over to the left, and we don't know where they were from or which mainstream media outlet that they represented, but they stayed away from the crowd and they tried to film secretly. For whatever reasons, I don't want to make any assumptions. No fake news here or anything like that. But the people in the crowd, the protesters, were outing him, and he was, waving back and being belligerent, on his own accord. I have a little clip that'll be in the full report where I was already kind of off to the side, monitoring one of the back entrances, hoping to catch Trudeau sneaking in. And yeah, I videoed him. It was pretty funny.
That was an excerpt from my daily TV-style show called The Ezra Levant Show. Each weekday, I do a monologue on the news of the day. Then I interview a fascinating guest. I read some fan mail or hate mail, depends on which I like more. And we end with a video of the day. You can get it all at rebelnewsplus.com.